FMJohn John Curtis here. I'm going to take you back to 1980. As you can see, there's a photograph of a young John Curtis here taken in 1980 at the Australian Chess Championship. And it's a bit of a video about, retrospective of me back 40 years ago and how I played then and how I played today. And I still occasionally revisit that line that I played and offer the pawn and try to get complications in the Dutch defence. Now, I'm going to show you that game today. It's between myself and Hayden Barber, and it was played in the I think it was the round 4 of the Australian Championship in 1980. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll go straight into the game, and White played e4 on White, and Hayden Barber was the New South Wales, he was the Western Australian chess champion at the time, I believe, and he was well known in Australia for being very, very good in the Dutch defence. I don't know whether he was a correspondence player as well, but he certainly was very good in his opening knowledge with the Dutch defence. Anyway, knight f6, I played knight c3, g6 and g3 I played. And Hayden was more of a theoretician than me. He would definitely be considered much better at the openings than what I was. I was naturally talented, and I just tried to work really, really hard at the game and try to be as inventive as possible and try to create problems for my opponent. Okay, he played bishop g7, I played bishop g2, castled. I played knight f3. You can see book moves are being shown by the chess.com analysis engine. I castled. Hayden plays knight c6. All right, and yeah, it's a book move apparently. d5, it's a book move. Well, knight to e5. Now I think I was supposed to play knight takes knight here or something. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to play knight takes knight. The engine's telling me now. You can see the big arrow in my face saying you should take the knight. Anyway, he pinched the pawn. He gets a star for that, best move. So I played my novelty idea. It was a novelty, really. And my God, if I knew what I was going to face, the problems I was going to face after having played my novelty, do you think that I would go back and refresh the position and play that position again? No way, because he gets an awesome pawn centre. So he attacked my knight. I go back, and now he went back. He returned because I got queen takes knight threatened. I played knight g5, as you can see there. Okay, it's a star move. It's the best move. And now he captures that pawn. Right, so he's got 2 pawns up. So I put the knight there, attack the family, the queen, the rook, the bishop. And I seriously even considered taking the bishop. Oh, I can tell you, but I thought, no. When he played queen to d7, it's a star move, I know now. It didn't have any chess engines in those days, back in 1980. But as you can see, it's a star move. It's better than bishop takes knight and queen to d7 because he retains the power and the defence of the raking bishops and the controlling his white squares. So I played queen to b3. Okay, it's an excellent move according to the engine. And the engine does say I should play knight takes rook, but it's a sort of an intermezzo, really. It's not as if he can take the knight off with the queen. One would think that he might be able to. His position's so strong. But he played c6, right? And I took the rook anyway. And then he took with a king. So then I looked at my position. I thought, what do I do here? Look at all the pawns. He's got so many pawns. I think it's like I haven't even dented his position. I think, I'm thinking if he gets these pawns and he starts pushing these pawns at me, I'm in an absolute mess. And I can remember my thoughts and feelings today as clear as what they were in 1980. So anyway, so I played rook to d1. It's a star move. The whole idea is I want to put pressure along there, right down to the queen. Because if he makes one, I'm thinking to myself at the time, if he makes one little move and gives me a little concession or something, just something I can grab hold of and work with, you know, to mould the position, you know, in my favour. Anyway, but I didn't get those opportunities. I just didn't get them. Hayden was too strong. So play knight c2. He's got his pawn wall moving. And now he plays queen to c7. It's a slight inaccuracy. Queen to e7 would have been better. Okay? Maybe it's because some variations, the bishop, because what it is, it's because the semi-open file, the rook on the a file, white's rook on the a file could go to c1, theoretically, I suppose. Knight e3. I'm still trying to work out a way how to chip away at his position. Right, so, it says I should have played knight b4. The engine's saying that I should play knight b4. And I understand what the engine's saying. But knight b4 is a better move. But there's not much difference in the strength of the two moves. Except for that thing. Anyway, I took his knight off. Star move, best move. And the reason being is when he takes with anything, well, then I can play queen a3. Well, that was my plan. The engine says it's a mistake. And I should... What? Oh, the engine says that I should take the knight. Well, I would be in a mess if I took that knight. Absolute mess. There's no way in the world would I take that knight in that position. I wouldn't survive. I couldn't survive. The Indians obviously thinks that the position's lost anyway. You might as well take the knight. Maybe the engine wants to play... if bishop takes knight, the engine wants to play e4. Play against the bad bishop. I can see what the engine's plans are, but the engine would still be a pawn down and the endgame would not be too good. I can see why the engine's thinking like this. Okay, I can see that. Okay, anyway, let's see what happened. King e7 was played, and I gave him a check. At this stage there during the game, what I was trying to do is trying to work out a way to get him into some time trouble, because keep the position as complicated as possible, keep him guessing. So I played rook on the a file to c1. Point being, it's a semi-open file. Some combinations might come as a result of the pin against the queen. And now rook to d8, star move, best move. I played queen b4. He played e5. Question mark. It says king f7 is best. I played f3. And now a5. Excellent move. According to the engine, excellent move. It says e takes f3 was better. I played queen a3. Here he's starting to get in a little bit of time trouble. I can remember clearly the tension in the position. I'm thinking, his pawn structure's not looking still looking pretty awesome because there's so many pawns, but it doesn't look as dynamic as what it was before. There's a few little holes that I could see on b6, e5, h6, and I thought, I'm thinking if I can get a little breakthrough in the centre somehow. Anyway, he played h6. He forces me to take that thing. The engine says it's a mistake. Bishop d2 is correct. Should keep the bishops on, or my bishop on. I took the pawn off. And then what does he do then? He gives me a check, right? Queen to b6, check, okay? So I moved the king to h1. And then he plays bishop takes b2. Okay. And I think, oh no, what's he doing here? So I played queen. I played my queen to d3. And at this stage now he's in time trouble. But he's picked up my rook. And I take back with my rook, and I'm thinking, well, here the position's not so bad. I've got his queen on b6, and I see this area here. I see this as devoid of pieces, and it's near his king. It's devoid of pieces. I'm thinking if I can penetrate that blocked area, then maybe I can get some play. And irrespective of being a pawn down, I might get some attack. Anyway, he played rook to d7. I should have played pawn takes pawn. I didn't. Okay, I played queen c3. He took the pawn off. Engine says it's good. It says f takes e4 was best. So I took his pawn. I thought anything to open him up. Then I should be playing queen there to h8. But I didn't. I pushed the pawn up to open the rook against his king. But I forgot. It's in this very position. He can scurry. He could play king to d8 and king to c7. And there's no way my heavy pieces could do anything to get him out of that little box that he'd be in with all those extra pawns. 4 passed pawns, 4 of them along here, 4 passed pawns, right? It's just a lot of pawns. You can't stop 4 passed pawns. Anyway, so he played bishop there. So I thought, well, great, I'll take his pawn off. I saw queen there, but I thought I've got to take the pawn off first, but I was wrong. It was immediately important to play that move. Anyway, fortunately, he's in time trouble, and he played queen to b4. And I thought, you beauty, I'm going in there, star move, and I'm threatening a rook check in some positions, right, on e1. And I thought, well, I might be threatening pawn checks now, and then a bishop checks if he comes to e6. So he played rook back, and so I gave him a pawn check. Okay, what next? Well, he moved his king here, and then I gave him a double attack. I played double attacking move. I'm threatening queen takes bishop check, and I'm also threatening rook here, and that's protected. The rook would be protected by the queen. So it's a double attack. It's like a scissor on the square board, a scissor. And from there, the rook would be attacking the b pawn, which is right behind the king, which in effect goes around the circle back to the bishop. Unbelievable stuff. But finally, my pieces are coordinated. And when you remember the huge pawn wall that he had 8 pawns. They were monsters. They were supported by all his minor pieces. And what I'd done was I chipped away at his position, okay, until finally I've got this opportunity. And then he played rook f8. It was a wrong move. He should have played queen to b3 so that he could hold his bishop that way. And then I gave him the big order of the boot. Rook checks. And now he played queen there. Another mistake in time trouble. He should play queen c6. Rook takes pawn check. I thought I got his queen out of the position, right? And I thought that's fantastic. What a chance. He's looking at the back rank checkmating me, but he moves up. He should have gone backwards to d8. But time trouble being time trouble, that's what it is. I give him the pawn. But the point is to trap him in this little net. See, he's trapped in this little box here, right? And I've got all my heavy pieces around it, okay? So that was my plan. So he played d5, star move, the best move. And then I played queen takes pawn check. He puts his bishop in. I can't take his rook with check because it's protected by the queen. So that's maybe why he played the queen there. Perhaps he could envisage this position. I don't know. You'd have to ask him. So he played bishop g6. And then it was then that I played rook checks. And what a powerful move that is, rook checks. He plays king up. He should have went sideways, but he went up. He thought, well, back we're in again. That's where we were before. We're in, right in. We're into his position. along that same long diagonal that we started off with, that the engine said was so critical in the whole position. He went back. So I took his bishop with check. So this is time limit trouble now. And he went back, so I checked him with the queen. And then he goes back again. Then I queen checked him up here, right? So if he puts his queen in, I could check him down the back and win his rook. So he played queen in. Queen checks down the back. And then he moved king d7, final mistake, and he would have lost his queen anyway. Had he gone there, had he played queen there, I would have played rook takes, rook check, and he would have lost his queen anyway, okay? So he didn't do that, but what he did do was he played king up, and then I gave him this almighty bishop check. And as you can see, his king's got nowhere to go. The only move is he's got to put his queen in, right? And then I take his bishop with check and his castle, and everything is all over. But as you can see, the bishop now, beautiful diagonal down there. The queen's got this beautiful diagonal covered. The rook, whoops, this beautiful diagonal covered all the way down to there. All the way. Look at that beautiful diagonal all the way down to there. This one's got that one covered all the way down to there. And the rook has got him all skewered all the way down there. So he's just absolute rats. So that was a great game. And that was an immense pleasure to win against Hayden Barber's Dutch defence, because I knew how good he was, how good he was with the Dutch defence. I knew I had my work cut out for me. So I'm very proud of that game. That was back in 1980, my friends. And Ian Rogers wrote a very good book about it too. It's called Chess in the 80s. There it is there. Australian Chess in the 80s. If you could get that book on Amazon or one of those channels. And GrandMaster Rogers wrote that book. He wasn't a... So anyway, but the point is, I hope you enjoyed the game. Please thumbs up if you liked the video, if you liked the content, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll try to bring you more content of the same high quality. Thank you, my friends, and without any more, I'll just say adieu and thank you for your time. Really appreciate it, and I appreciate all the donations to my PayPal account by dear friends of mine. It just helps to keep me going. I bought a new mouse pad. I've been researching and I'll be able to buy a new mouse soon. So I really appreciate all the gifts. I feel very humbled by your support. Thank you again, and goodbye for now, okay?